The snow didn't fall, it attacked. By 30:17 a.m. the wind was screaming against the windows like something alive. The weather alert on my phone kept vibrating every 20 minutes. Blizzard warning. Travel ban emergency advisory. By sunrise, the world outside had disappeared. Cars were swallowed whole. Mailboxes were gone. Front steps invisible. And in the middle of that frozen silence, our dogs were pacing in circles. They didn't care about county alerts. They didn't understand wind chill. They just needed to go outside. That's when everything started. We live in one of those perfect HOA communities. Symmetrical houses, identical mailboxes, lawns trimmed like golf courses. The kind of place where you get a warning letter if your trash can is visible from the street for more than 12 hours. The kind of place where community standards matter more than common sense. The board calls it preserving property value. We call it control. Normally, it's annoying. During a blizzard, it became dangerous. By 9 a.m., snow was knee-deep. By 11, it was up to our thighs. The city issued a full travel ban. Even plows were delayed because of whiteout conditions. Emergency services were responding only to life-threatening calls. Inside our homes, we were doing what families do in survival mode, melting snow for backup water, checking generators, layering blankets, calling elderly neighbors, and our dogs were whining near the door. So we shoveled small paths, not to the sidewalk, not to the street, just tiny clearings in our own yards, private property. We picked up solid waste where possible. The rest was frozen instantly. We were responsible. We were careful. We were just trying to get through the storm. At 12:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. Subject line: immediate violation notice. Pet sanitation issue. I thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. The email stated that visible pet waste contamination in snow-covered yards constitutes a breach of community cleanliness standards. They had attached photographs, taken that same morning, while the storm was still raging. They warned of 200 fines per occurrence. And then the line that changed everything. Continued violations may result in escalation to animal control authorities due to potential health risks. They threatened our dogs. During a declared snow emergency, the neighborhood group chat exploded. At first, it was confusion. Is this real? Did everyone get this? They can't be serious. Then the anger started. A single mom with 2 rescue dogs posted, "I haven't slept in 24 hours. My power flickered twice." And they're emailing about snow stains. An elderly couple wrote, "We physically cannot shovel beyond a small path. Are they expecting us to excavate the yard?" Another neighbor said something that stuck. "They're out there taking photos while we're checking on each other." That was the moment it shifted. This wasn't about sanitation. This was about priorities. Someone replied to the board politely, "Due to hazardous weather and city emergency advisories, immediate removal is not feasible. We request suspension of enforcement under emergency conditions." The HOA president responded in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Community standards remain in effect regardless of weather. Compliance is mandatory. Mandatory. Even while emergency responders were telling people to stay inside. Even while frostbite warnings were issued. They weren't protecting the neighborhood. They were protecting control. That night the temperature dropped to negative single digits. Snow hardened into ice. Pipes froze in 3 homes. One family lost power completely. And still violation emails continued. Some residents received second notices with timestamps. That meant someone from the board was physically patrolling the neighborhood in blizzard conditions. Not checking on elderly residents, not offering assistance, inspecting yards, photographing snow. It would have been absurd if it wasn't so insulting. Day 2. The storm intensified. Drifts reached 4 feet. Front doors were partially buried. We formed teams. One neighbor with a snowblower cleared shared driveways. Another family cooked soup for anyone who needed a warm meal. A teenager went door to door checking on seniors. Community came alive. And then someone did something brilliant. They opened the HOA bylaws, page 47, section 9.3, force majeure clause. In the event of natural disasters, emergencies, or circumstances beyond reasonable control, enforcement actions may be suspended at the discretion of the board. May. That single word was everything. They had the authority to pause enforcement. They chose not to. Screenshots of the clause spread instantly, highlighter marks, circles around natural disasters. The anger transformed into strategy. No screaming, no emotional rants, documentation, time-stamped emails, copies of violation notices, photos of city emergency alerts. A shared online folder appeared, title HOA accountability log, every threat, every fine, every photo saved. Because power depends on silence, and silence was gone. By the afternoon of day 2, more than half the neighborhood had signed a digital petition demanding immediate suspension of all enforcement during the declared emergency. We weren't begging. We were invoking our rights under their own governing documents. Then someone contacted the city's emergency management office, not to complain, to ask, is it appropriate for non-essential HOA personnel to patrol residential streets during an active blizzard under travel ban conditions? The response came quickly, no. Unnecessary travel was strongly discouraged. Residents were advised to remain indoors. That response was shared across the neighborhood. Now the board didn't just look unreasonable. They looked reckless. Day 3. Animal control arrived. Someone on the board had followed through. You could feel the tension ripple through the street. But what they walked into wasn't chaos. It was order, shoveled walkways, responsible owners, leashed pets, neighbors helping neighbors. They spoke to several residents. They saw the emergency advisories. They looked at the violation emails. One officer shook his head slightly. This should not have been escalated. No citations were issued, no warnings given. They left. And in that moment, the board lost something critical, authority without credibility. The snow finally stopped on day 4. The sky cleared, but something permanent had shifted. The petition evolved. Residents demanded a special board meeting, not to yell, to amend policy, specifically to change one word from may suspend enforcement to shall suspend enforcement. No discretion during declared disasters. Safety first. The board resisted. They cited maintaining standards. They warned about precedent. But attendance at the meeting shattered records. Standing room only, calm, focused, prepared. Emails were projected onto a screen. City advisories displayed beside them. The force majeure clause read aloud. And then came the testimonies. An elderly woman said softly, I was afraid to let my dog outside because I didn't want another fine. A father held up his phone showing 3 violation notices received while shoveling snow for neighbors. A veteran spoke calmly, in emergencies, we protect each other. We don't punish each other. The room was silent. The board members avoided eye contact. Because power feels strong until the people stand together. Elections were 2 months away. For years, barely anyone voted. This time, campaigns formed. Neighbors who had coordinated snow relief stepped forward. Statements were simple. Community means compassion. Safety before standards. No fines during disasters. The turnout was historic. Every board member who pushed enforcement during the storm voted out. Every single one. The new board's first act. Immediate suspension and refund of all fines issued during the snow emergency. The second. Permanent amendment of the emergency clause, replacing may with shall. The third, a written apology to the entire neighborhood, not defensive, not legalistic, human. But here's the truth. This story was never about dog waste in snow. It was about control colliding with community. The HOA believed fear would maintain order. They assumed 200 fines would keep everyone quiet. They assumed individual homeowners would feel isolated. Instead, they sparked unity. They activated leadership. They created organization. They started a war they couldn't control, not violent, not chaotic, but strategic and unstoppable. A war of documentation, a war of ballots, a war of calm, relentless accountability. And they lost. Now, when storms hit, something beautiful happens. Before any email arrives, neighbors check in on each other. The board sends safety updates instead of threats. There's a shared emergency plan, snow removal teams, assistance lists, and whenever someone jokes about snow violations, there's a quiet understanding. We remember, not with rage, with awareness. because the storm revealed something critical. A neighborhood isn't built by uniform lawns. It's built by shared humanity. Authority without empathy collapses, but unity rewrites the rules. The snow melted. The ice disappeared, but the shift in power remained. They thought they were protecting property value. What they actually did was awaken a community. And it all started the moment they threatened our dogs.